يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما إنا عرضنا الأمانة على السماوات والأرض والجبال فأبين أن يحملنها وأشفقن منها وحملها الإنسان إنه كان ظلوما جهولا ليعذب الله المنافقين والمنافقات والمشركين والمشركات ويتوب الله على المؤمنين والمؤمنات وكان الله غفورا رحيما.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We thank Allah Azza wa Jalla for His continuous blessings in our lives. We testify that none deserves our worship except Him, and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is indeed a true prophet of Allah. May the continuous blessings of Allah be upon him, members of his household, and companions in righteousness. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon each and every one of us. Allahumma Ameen. It's indeed a great pleasure to welcome you all onto All You Who Believe, a special program reaching you on the platform of Old Kent Road Mosque and Islamic Cultural Center. Alhamdulillah, on the program today, it's going to be more of public service activities. Yes, and when we're talking about public service activities, that is the essence of our existence. We have to serve Allah through our services to people, inshallah. A very quick rundown of what is expected of us. You will have the opportunity after listening to our guest lecturers today to ask questions, and inshallah, we have able and capable hands who will answer all your questions. Don't forget, mute your microphone if you are not speaking. That helps communication a lot. And the All You Believe team would like to congratulate Professor Moshood Adebayo Baderi and his family for the birth of our darling son. We pray Allah Azza wa Jalla to make him indeed a great shining star to the family, to Islam, and the entire human race. Allahumma Ameen. Alhamdulillah. While we're doing that, we also have a very big congratulatory message, but I'll keep that quiet a bit now because we're going to celebrate our own. We're going to celebrate our own, inshallah. Without much ado, I'd like to quickly hand over the microphone to the reciter today, Sulaiman Akoshile, who will lead us in the recitation from the glorious Quran. And after that, we continue by moving on to the program. Sulaiman, if you are ready, walhamd, bismillah. You need to unmute yourself first. Okay?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يسبح لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير هو الذي خلقكم فمنكم كافر ومنكم مؤمن والله بما تعملون بصير خلق السماوات والأرض بالحق وصوركم فأحسن صوركم وإليه المصير يعلم ما في السماوات والأرض ويعلم ما تسرون وما تعلنون والله عليم بذات الصدور ألم يأتكم نبأ الذين كفروا من قبل فذاقوا وبال أمرهم ولهم عذاب عليم ذلك بأنهم كانت تأتيهم رسلهم بالبينات وقالوا أبشر يهدوننا فكفروا وتولوا واستغنى الله والله غني حميد زعم الذين كفروا أن لن يبعثوا قل بلى وربي لا تبعثون ثم لا تنبون بما عملتم وذلك على الله يسير فآمنوا بالله ورسوله والنور الذين أنزلنا والله بما تعملون خبير يوم يجمعكم ليوم الجمع ذلك يوم التغابن ومن يؤمن بالله ويعمل صالحا يكفر عنه سيئاته ويدخله جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها أبدا ذلك الفوز العظيم صدق الله العظيم.
Sadaqallah Azim. And on that beautiful note, we want to thank you very much, Sulaiman Akoshile. It's indeed our prayer that may Allah Azza wa Jalla bless you, bless your parents, and use you as a source of inspiration, greater inspiration to the entire human race. Thank you very much. May Allah bless you. Alhamdulillah. Well, here we are right now into the program. I want to quickly appeal to all mosque users and members that inshallah we are providing dates. Yes, providing dates for sale, inshallah, as we're preparing for Ramadan. And this is one very important thing about these sales of dates. Whenever you buy dates from the mosque, inshallah, a percentage of the sale will be going into a rebuild project. So as you are buying, you are equally donating to the rebuild project. More details will be given to you. Just get in touch with the secretariat and that will be done, inshallah. The calendars are also here available for order and just a token, inshallah. We will be very pleased to have your order. You are also requested to enroll your kids at Man UK Markaz. The Markaz is up and going now. Please ensure that your kids are enrolled in the Markaz. We pray Allah Azza wa Jalla to make these kids sources of joy to us eternally. Allahumma Amin. And with that, I quickly hand over to Grandpa, yes, for the last Sheikh Professor Mashood Adebayo Badiri. We pray Allah Azza wa Jalla to guide us and bless our efforts. Allahumma Amin. Bismillah, sir.
Jazakumullah khair jaza, Madam Wali Hassan. Thank you so much, Abu Ghani, for starting us off, for anchoring us. And we also thank our son who recited the Quran. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I also welcome every one of us, both in-house and over the net across the world, all our viewers and listeners to the OU Who Believe in program. Today is another session, and this is really going to be very useful. As Abu Ghani mentioned, this much more of a public service. Our guest today who will be speaking to us are going to provide us necessary information that we need as human beings living in the UK, many of us migrants, and they are officers from the Home Office. We have the privilege of having two officers, from the Home Office, to speak to us. The first one of them is Mrs. Laura Isibo, who is the National Community Engagement Lead for Nigeria in the Home Office. Then we also have Mrs. Pat Dale, the Immigration Compliance and Enforcement Team from the Home Office. I don't have much on their detail, and I believe they will be happy to introduce themselves much more in detail before they start their presentation. They will be speaking to us today. They'll be giving us an overview into marriage, children in immigration, and more of that. You know, I mean, it's a very, very important service. As believers, we know, you see, the Quran, as we know, this is a program that is based on religious, norms, all you who believe. And we find that in the Quran, Allah tells us in various parts of the Quran that we should traverse the earth. It's the nature of human beings. We can't sit in one place. And especially the way the world is now, you see, immigration is really, expanding. People are moving around. And if you look in the Quran, there's a phrase that really comes in about 12 different places. You know, Allah says, Kul siru fil ard. Allah says that tell people to traverse the earth. There's one which is really very interesting. If you look in Quran chapter 29, verse 20, you know, Allah says, Kul siru fil ard. Fanzuru kayfa bada al khalq. Thumma Allahu yinshu nash'at al akhirah. Inna Allah ala kulli shayin qadir. Allah said, tell people to travel, to traverse the earth, so that they can be able to appreciate how God created the world, how created the universe, how the world began. And then they will also be able to appreciate that, how Allah will end it all. And Allah has control over everything. And, you know, a lot of the time when you travel, people say travel and see. Travel itself is an education. But then, you know, all countries have their rules of coming in, coming out, staying, you know, how you live abroad and things like that. And the Quran tells us that we have to keep within rules. Obey God, obey the messenger, and those in authority. So for that reason, this is really very important and very useful. We thank our guest today from the Home Office, who wants to speak to our community about what they need to know regarding marriage and also our children in immigration abroad in the UK particularly, and also more issues. And we have an opportunity to be able to ask questions. Immigration law is very, very complex. It changes all the time. It's not in one single place. And I'm speaking to this as a lawyer. It's not in one single place, it's all over the place. So if you have people who are professionals from the Home Office to give us advice on this, it's very worthy for us to listen because it will be quality advice. And also we have opportunity to ask questions. So, we thank our guest, and I want to, as I've introduced them, I want to hand over to Mrs. Laura Isibo. Each one of our guests will have opportunity to speak for 20 minutes so that we have enough time for asking questions and other things that we do on this program. So both, Mrs. Isibo and Mrs. Dale are online. If you don't mind, if you want to, put your cameras on so that we can really see your face when you are talking. So I will hand over now to perhaps maybe Mrs. Laura Isibo to start with a presentation for 20 minutes. Then after that, we'll hear from Mrs. Pat Dale. The floor is yours now. I hope the connection is fine. We can't hear you yet.
They seem to be having problems. I can see your mic is unmuted, Pat. So if maybe you say something so that I know if you're all good. They seem to be struggling.
Yes. Mrs. Isibo is still offline. She's muted now. Okay.
My parents chose to name me Old Kent Road Islamic and Cultural Centre as a baby. And when the time came for me to start my family, my daughter was also named at this masjid.
Same as my story, I was also born and named there. I attended Maracas and used to play football after classes with my mates.
The Old Kent Road Mosque and Islamic Cultural Centre, MAN UK, is a community where all Muslims enjoy the bond of brotherhood and the sweetness of sisterhood.
Old Kent Road Masjid has played an important role in my spiritual and social development and that of my young family.
It is a home, a place of solace for everyone, especially the Muslims of African descent living in London, United Kingdom.
This is a heritage we treasure and must preserve for the next generation. We need you to make this dream come true.
Kindly donate and encourage your family, friends, and loved ones to contribute towards the rebuilding of our mosque.
May Allah bless and reward you abundantly. Allahumma Amin.
Please help build our mosque.
The mosque is the soul of the Muslim community. It is the hub of life-giving and spiritually fulfilling activities, feeding of people on the street, youth camp, empowerment of women, and care for the elderly. The timely and effective COVID-19 intervention on OU Who Believe, our online lecture series, is a masterpiece. The Visit My Mosque project breaks barriers. We take pride in the blend of our mosque users who cut across color, gender, age, and social differences. Academic, moral, and spiritual education is catered for at the Markaz. The 5 daily prayer, Jum'ah service, our healthy living, counseling, marriage, naming, and burial arrangements are top quality. The Old Kent Road Mosque and Islamic Cultural Centre, where we do these and more, is now in ground zero. Our faith in Allah and your great contributions can make the 6-story building a reality. Please donate and encourage others around you to donate towards the rebuilding of the House of Allah. May Allah bless you abundantly. Ameen.
Okay, thank you so much, for those clips, which reminds us about the mosque project, which is still ongoing. Anybody who passes by Old Kent Road will see that the site is picking up from ground zero. It's coming up gradually after the demolition. And we'll be talking much more about that in relation to people continuing to contribute. I hope our guests have been able to Rashida, did you upgrade them to panelists? I couldn't see them on the panelists.
Yeah, they were. What happened is, because it's the Home Office, they have a special system, and we already did practice before, and it was all okay. But they seem to now be having issue. But inshallah, it's been sorted. Okay. One of them is already in. I'm just waiting for the other person, and they will start inshallah.
Okay, perhaps maybe if you can start with the person in now.
No, she's trying to get the other person. She's trying to help the other person.
To get on. Okay, alhamdulillah. While we wait for our guest, I was talking about the importance of, keeping within the rules. This is why I need you need to know the rules before you can keep within them. Islam encourages that. That we should obey the laws of the land in which we live, particularly the public laws. Now, in relation to immigration and things like that, we should keep to them. And for us to be able to do that, we need to hear from those who practice these rules all the time. And this is why, this today's session is really very, very important. And we also have opportunities to ask questions, and this is free, valuable information, because such information usually you need to see a legal practitioner and you need to pay for the services in order to, get your questions answered. So hopefully we'll be able to get them ready to start with the presentation. Now, we might use this juncture to move on with our appeals. We have not done this for quite a while. And I think it's very, very important to remind every one of us on the need to continue to dig into our pockets and to continue to contribute to the mosque project. We still need a lot of money. You should remember that we are just on the first phase now. And the last fundraising that we did was very successful, very good, but we still have a long way to go. So we should not rest on our oars. Individually, we should continue to donate. And if we know, pass the information on to others so that people can know about the project, and then they can also donate and contribute to it. We should not keep silent about it, and also the concept of the Qard Hasan, that is a goodly loan, which we are talking about. If people are inclined to lend us, money for a period of a minimum period of 2 years, it's secure, as we said earlier. This will be paid back, inshallah, after the due date. So we'll continue to call on every one of us. Now we extend this call also to even those outside the community, because this is a public program. Everybody is listening from wherever they are. So we will really appreciate those who are interested in partnering with us to ensure that this mosque project is successfully completed. And thereby, we will appreciate your Qard Hasan, your goodly loan. The forms are there. We have the online one, we have the hard copies. If you want them, you get in touch with the secretariat and you can get the forms for the Qard Hasan, so that you can be able to fill them and we can take that forward, inshallah. The temporary mosque is open, as was announced when we started. People, one of the fallouts of the lockdown and COVID is that you found out that many people are still stuck in their homes. The lockdown is over now. The rules have been lifted now. We should get back into community. Human beings are social animals. We should try to keep ourselves away from hiding behind the cameras now or sitting in front of a screen. Especially the mosque. The mosque should be a lively place. So it is very important that we start moving out and coming to the mosque for our acts of ibadat and all our activities. For example, last Thursday, when we had the akika of my grandchild there, it was really very good. The atmosphere was very good. And there were people around and we had a very good time. The azkar that we do on Sundays, inshallah, it's important that people come out and start participating within the community again. So may Allah make it easy for every one of us to be able to do so. What's the update? What's the situation, Laja Rashida? I hope have they been able to get over the connection issue?
We're still working on it, sir. We're still working on it.
Okay, that's fine. We will continue to persevere, because this is important. We need to persevere and keep on hoping that we will get this sorted, and then people can really benefit. Now, before maybe we will bring in another section of the program we have today before we get our speakers in. And when we started, you know, after Wali Hassan congratulated me for the new grandchild, which I'm really appreciative of, he said we have another celebration, you know, which he was putting under the wraps. I will want to speak to that now. You know, one of our, the Prophet ﷺ is reported to have said that is not one of us, anyone who does not honor our elders and also look after our children, you know, and those are very important stages of life. You start as a child, then you grow into an elder, you become the cream of society. So we are really, really very honored. One of our mothers in our community, I mean, very well known, and what she has been doing, gudu gudu meji ya ya mefa. You know, if you know what gudu gudu meji ya ya mefa means in Yoruba, you'll be able to know. You know, I mean, somebody told me about how that came to be. He said in the old, Western region, you know, there was somebody who was an interpreter, you know, the colonial officers. And he was talking about, one of the political leaders did certain things, you know, and he was speaking and somebody was interpreting it. And he said, good, 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 good. Yeah, 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 yeah. So the interpreter was counting also gudu, 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 meji. Yeah, 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 mefa. You know, so it means, you know, he was really extolling him, in the sense. So our mother, the one I'm talking about, some of us know already. She has reached a good age, a good prime age. I'm talking about our Alhaja Hafsat, Elias. Mama Elias, she's very, very popular within our community, a very good elder, you know, and she's good to everyone. Mama Elias clocks 80 years today, you know, she's 80 years today, and we think we need to celebrate her. You know, we thank Allah for Mama Elias's life. 80 is, it's a ripe, good age. And if you see Mama, you'll be surprised. You know, Mama is aging gracefully. You know, she's aging really gracefully. And we thank Allah for that for her. So what we'll first do is to recite the dua that we recite for people who are celebrating their birthdays in the Quran. Let us together recite Rabbi Awzini an ashkura ni'mataka allati an'amta alayya wa ala walidayya wa an amala salihan tarda wa aslih li fi zurriyati inni tubtu ilayk wa inni minal muslimin. You know, that verse in the Quran relates to when a person reaches 40, they have reached a good ripe age, and then they pray to God, you know, that, oh Allah, make it easy for me, permit me to be able to thank you for all your mercies upon me. Now, Alhaja has doubled that. She's 80, 2 40s. You know, 40 times 2, that's 80. So we've done the Rabbi Awzini once. Let us do it again because she's clocked 2 40s. So we do it again for her. Rabbi Awzini and amta alayya wa ala walidayya wa ana amala salihan tarda wa asli li fi zurriyati inni tubtu ilayka wa inni minal muslimin. We ask Allah to increase her in iman, in good health, and also in prosperity as she continues to grow gracefully. So, that's that for Alhaja, and we pray that Allah elongates the lives of every one of us. So we can now move on. I hope yes, it appears that, okay, that's very good. I can see Mrs. Pat Dale there. And I think you are most welcome. And we have really persevered. And thank you so much, for your time. Yeah, thank you.
Can you hear me though?
Yes, I can. I can hear you clear and clean.
I am so sorry.
No,
Sorry.
that's fine. That's fine. We already introduced both of you. Yourself and Mrs. Isibo, we introduced you. And we really appreciate your time. We appreciate you a lot for joining us. And I believe our audience are really, really waiting, because we know I've already told the audience the importance of this. It's a public service. You know, immigration rules are very, very important. They are complex all over the place, not in single one place. So it's a great service you're doing to us. So we have assigned, 20 minutes for each one of you. Mrs. Itiba will speak for 20 minutes if she wants to use all that time. And also Pat will speak for 20 minutes. And then I know there will be plenty of questions. And we hope you'll be able to answer. So
we'll try.
Yeah, let me leave the floor for you. Anyone, either of you can start, and then we'll take the.
Okay, I'll start. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. So thank you. We're so sorry about the IT issue. It's just a Home Office security. We have to make sure we get it right. If not, we cannot get through to you. So we're so sorry about that. We're in now. So good evening, everybody. My name is Mrs. Laura Isibo. As you can see, I'm Nigerian. Work in Home Office, and at the moment I work in the National Community Engagement team. My colleague there, Pat, she'll introduce herself in a minute. She works in the Immigration Compliance team, and she will explain exactly what she does briefly. So I'm just being cautious of the time because I've got 20 minutes. So this team started in 2016, and it all came up from the fact that we wanted to kind of find ways to reach the community, because as we all know, there is not a lot of trust for the Home Office from the community as a whole, especially the Black Asian community. So if you can remember the Windrush as well, one of the recommendations of Wendy Williams was that we should try and impact the community and hear from the community what it is that views and comments are, and try to build that trust. So that's what we've been doing in 2016. I joined the team not too long ago, last year. So that's what they've been doing, and we continue to do that. So we engage with faith leaders, so different Muslim, Christians, and I've got other people that deal with Bangladesh, Pakistan, Albania, India. They deal with their own communities as well. We engage with charities, academics, and I-Commission, like Nigerian I-Commission. We're trying to get more information and stuff with them as well. So we share the messages of immigration compliance, and we need to build more sustainable links with our community, and especially with the leaders of the community. And then we educate the community, and we want to find out from especially your leaders, why is there so much irregular migration with people? What is the consequences of remaining in the UK without lawful status? We want you to know. We want to raise awareness so people are not going to other people and getting wrong information, so they know exactly what it is that could happen. But before we get to that area of being enforced or being returned home, we want you to make that significant decision of making sure that you settle and you get your status regularized. So that way you are already in the system. You don't have a situation where you are so ignorant, you don't even know what to do. And this is why we're doing all of these kind of events. And this is just the first one. Hopefully there'll be more. And then we can, educate more people about things. And if you have issues or complex situations where you think the Home Office has not dealt with your cases, maybe in the last 1 year, you're still waiting for guidance on something, we are here to kind of use it as a kind of a first face, first connection to get through. And then we will see what we can do to signpost you, to guide you. We're not caseworkers, so we cannot deal with individual cases. We would just listen to whatever it is that the problem is. And if we can't deal with it right now, we would take it away with us. And of course, I've spoken to your leaders, your faith leaders. We can't deal with, personal situations on this platform. So today we're really going to be talking about how we engage and some areas of immigration legislation that people might be more interested in. And obviously, this is just an overview. So just to let you know, obviously this time is gone as well. So it's just an overview of the areas that we will be dealing with, or that we deal with, that we can help to make sure that, people understand how to go about it. Or if you don't, at least make sure you get informed or correct information from correct solicitors. And also I would be talking later on, if there's time or next time, about you can't actually complain about a solicitor if they're not doing their job properly. We have links with the Home Office, that you can't do that. And that is one of the reasons why, because I'm the lead for Nigeria, and so now I'm going, also Ghana, and also like Kenya, but I'm actually lead for Nigeria. But obviously, I think of other African countries as well, but we'll be looking into that later. So today, I will speak briefly on children and the resources, the legislation on children, a little bit on it. And then also my colleague will be speaking, when she does introduce herself, on like marital spouse visa and stuff like that. So I've broken my one down. I've got some time into categories as well. So first of all, I'll look at children born in the UK with settled or British parents. That is just, I think a lot of people know that already anyway. So children born in the UK after the 1st of January 1983, right, okay, will be a British citizen automatically. If you're born before 1983, the 1st of January, on or after, you will be a British citizen if your parents are either British or settled in the UK. Okay, so settled meaning that is you define as being ordinarily resident in the UK and free from immigration or time restrictions. So before that time, it should be automatic. However, if the child's parents become British or settled after the child being born, before the child turns 18, you can make an application to register the child under Section 1.3 of the BNA 81. It's all in GovGov UK if you want to go in and check more on it. The child must be a minor on the day that you apply for them if they're over the age of 10. So before they're 18, you have to make the application for them, right? If you are a settled parent, okay? And then, and even if you're not, as far as they're 10, you must make the application for them after that age, but they must be of good character as well. And obviously you have to follow the eligibility rules. Okay, so that's for the ones born in the UK, which is really, and they have British parents, that's more or less really automatic, to be honest, that's clear. Then the other ones I want us to look into is children not born in the UK and parents not settled in the UK. So they have a child here, they're not born here. The parents as well, they have not settled themselves here. So children not born in the UK will reside with parents not settled in the UK. You can apply for leave to remain in line with the provisions with your parents. So if your parents don't have leave, automatically you don't have leave as well as the child. And I think this is one thing that our community needs to let the children know, because sometimes it's so unfair on the children because they go to school thinking that, yeah, I can travel, I can go anywhere with my friends, and then there's time for them to go away and they can't go. And the parents do not explain to them why they can't go. So they're thinking, why am I different? But if they understand, then they know that, okay, it's only a matter of time and then it should be sorted out. There's applications, visa application on family routes, which allow applicants to add dependent minors to the application to ensure that the child leave is in line with the parents. So obviously, whenever parents apply, the child should be on the application. I've heard people say, oh, this solicitor have advised me not to put my child on the application. Why would you not put your child on the application? Because at the end of the day, we are not immigration lawyers or advisors. We're here to guide and support you. But you are expected to put your child on the application, and then you can take it from there, because there will be questions that will be asked later on. And then what are you going to say? Where has the child been? Haven't you put the child on before? So all these things we want people to be aware of so that you don't get stuck in the system whereby you've now done yourself some disfavors and now it's very difficult and you're paying a lot of money to get yourself out of it. So, for children whose parents do not have valid leave in the UK, right? If your parents do not have valid leave in the UK, the children can apply under the private life provisions if they are under the age of 18 years and have lived continuously in the UK for at least 7 years. Notwithstanding the 180 years absence, 80 days absence, 180 days should be asked for 180 days. And that applies to a lot of the leave anyway. So they can apply if the child lived in the UK continuously in the UK for at least 7 years, and it will not be reasonable to expect the applicant to leave the UK. Okay, and there's a guide and a link that you can get all that information from as well. So another one I looked at because of time, it says children born in the UK with non-settled parents. So the one I just talked about with children not born in the UK. So you're born in the UK as a child, but your parents do not have any status. And that is very common. So it's kind of in line with the other ones as well. So as stated before, if the child is born in the UK and the parents are not born and don't have their resident, right? The parents can apply under the private life rules if the child has resided in the UK for at least 7 years and over. But then it depends on the nationality laws, okay? And especially when the child gets to 10, then they'll have to look into, obviously, the child having to prove their residence. And when they say prove their residence, you must be able to show the child has been here for that length of time. You can't just come in and say, yes, they've been here, but what is the proof? You know, school, letters, hospitals, whatever. If you lived in a place for 10 years or 8 years or 9 years, you should be able to prove you lived there, your child has lived there. And so children who were born in the UK, who were not British citizens at the time of their birth, would expect, and they have lived here in UK for 10 years of their life, right? But if they have not been out of the UK for more than 90 days in the first 10 years of their life, then obviously they can't meet the criteria. So an applicant must be at least 10 years old to apply under the provision of settlement. So everything I'm talking about now is on gov.uk. And if you're not able to understand or read as much as you want to, please seek advice from a solicitor. And the last one I'm going to talk about is if you're not born in the UK and your parents are settled, that's more or less automatic. I mean, you're not born in the UK, but you have settled parents. So we're expecting the parents to obviously show proof that you are their children, obviously that should bring your birth certificate. And be careful, because sometimes they do check, make sure if Home Office, obviously every case is different, but the law is the law. So they have to make sure that obviously because sometimes the children are not here, they're back home, and they for whatever reason, the mother or the father came here, but now they're settled. So if obviously they want to sort that out, we expect you to make sure you get a proper advice from the immigration representative that would advise you accordingly. But then that is more or less possible. If you already are settled, then the children shouldn't be having any problem, especially when they're under the age of 18. And if a child is here, obviously, and between 7 and 10, born in the UK, and they're between 7 and 10 years old, as I said before, the same thing. They've lived there for 10 years. They can apply to be registered as a British citizen under Section 1.4. Okay, and also children can apply for status under the private life provisions if they're under the age of 18 and they've lived continuously in the UK at least 7 years. And it will be unreasonable to expect them to leave the UK. So the private rules also applies here. So this is really just explaining to everyone that at the end of the day, the ball is in your court to make sure that you find out information about your child, and don't just leave the child and say, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because whatever affects you would affect the child, because the child don't know what's happening, especially when they're on age. You don't understand it. So it's for us to guide you, to explain that you need to let the children understand that, even if you don't want to tell them everything, but at least they have an idea, especially when they be older. And make sure, please, that you sort out their immigration status, because it will affect them going forward as well. And the last one I said before I put it over to my colleague is, as well, one thing that I've found from my events from other charities and faith organizations, Christian churches, Muslim mosque and all that, is a lot of the time some of our people, they believe that once the child has gotten the ILR, everything's fine, they got my ILR, or the child themselves. So that's why we need education. Once they've gotten the ILR, they can go wherever they like. Which is fine, you can do whatever you like, but please do understand that there are rules. As far as you've not gotten that British passport, there are rules. And if unfortunately that person falls under criminality, unfortunately, it could change their whole life. Yeah, it could change their whole life, because you're still considered as, you got your status, but you don't have your passport yet as a British national. So I would say that when you do get your ILR, when a child does get the ILR, please parents make sure that they stay on ground, number one. Two, they do anything you can to make sure that they do get their British passport to become a British citizen. Because if you leave it for a long time and anything happens in that forum, that timing of whatever, they're being wayward or something happens to them in a criminal situation, unfortunately, it really might affect them going forward, and especially when they're over 18 years old. Under 18, but over 18 years old, as you all know, you're an adult. You're now an adult. It's really difficult to prove that you're not, you don't know what you were doing. So please, that's what I would like to talk about here in regards to the children. But obviously, there's more that you can read on gov.uk. There's other signposting I'll be giving out to you about, if you can make a complaint about a solicitor that's not been doing their job properly. We have it. There's website you can visit through us, and obviously, if you want to check your status as well, there are numbers that we can give you as well that I think a lot of people know already, but there's sometimes it's a bit different that we can signpost you to as well. So that's just a brief I'm just giving you on the registration of children as British national or otherwise. So thank you very much. I'm going to talk about, if we've got time, about the VRS, but before then, I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Mrs. Pat Dale, and she's going to be giving us some information on spousal visa / living in the UK illegally, and what kind of eligibility you can have for that. So thank you. Pat?
Pat?
Maybe you're mute, Pat.
Yeah.
Hello, Pat, we can hear you. Are you on mute?
Pat, you need to unmute yourself, please. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can now.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Right. I want to discuss about the marriage and spouse visa. I think either you can switch the category here, but before you do that, I would say let's start with the marriage visa, because that's easy to obtain. You can apply for a marriage visa in your own country, and that's for 6 months visitors. It's kind of a short term, because during that time you have to organize your wedding here and register here, have the whole party or whatever. And once you get here, you can actually extend it to a spouse visa while you're in the country, but you have to enter as a it's called a marriage visit, not but during that time you're not actually entitled to work here or claim any public benefits of the kind, but it's like a visitor's visa. It's cheaper than the spouse visa. I have to say it only costs £95. But to get that visa, you have to provide when you will be getting married, how long have you known the person, the British person, or how long, proof of their residency here, proof of their funding. It's almost like a spouse visa backup, but it's cheaper to apply because you haven't really got married yet. So it's called marriage visa, with all the documentation presented to the entry clearance officer in your own country, and they issue you within that time that particular thing. And when you arrive in the UK, you have no rights until you switch to a spouse visa, which you can do in country. You can present your registration, wedding registration, with again the sponsor being a British national. They have to show, the sponsor has to show that they are earning, I think their earnings are 18,600 at the moment. That should be their annual income. And it's for, and equally they have to show they have £16,000 worth of savings to support the partner, husband or wife. And if you have children also in the process, the first child, it costs £3,800, but the second child is £2,400 when you apply. So these are the initial fees you apply to Home Office after getting married. That is in country with marriage visa. Again, showing your knowledge of English, which is a compulsory test to give for everybody. And also, again, showing your accommodation, how long you have worked for with the employer, possibly 6 months bank statement, letter from employer, council, to say you have accommodation enough for your family to raise. And you have to obviously make sure that they have no criminal records. All that is taken into consideration as the application goes. And then you're given 2.5 years after that, and you can apply for indefinite leave to remain, I think within 5 years. And then you apply for British nationality after 5 years. Am I right, Laura?
Yeah.
After 5 years, you can actually apply. It's called naturalization first. And again, we can't promise that you will be given British nationality because it depends on your character. And there are a lot of other issues surrounding which are checked by the British Passport Office, whether you are eligible for British passport or nationality. So these are the basic things you have to be obviously show even after 5 years that you're still in the stable relationship, how you have supported each other, you have not used public funds, and you've been able to support each other, accommodation financially, and you are intending to live together. And that is where Home Office will grant you further leave to remain. So I think there are 3 stages where Home Office charges you. Initial application form, then after ILR when you start for naturalization process, and then when you apply for British nationality. So every time you apply or change something, you have to have a fee which is applicable for people to extend their stay. So that's one good thing. Well, good thing for us, but it's very expensive, I have to say. The other thing which you have to think, it's if you have children, for instance, born in United Kingdom or Irish national, children who are British national, you can be dependent on them and come in as their dependent. So you're allowed to apply on those bases as well. Laura has just explained to you about children who are registered as British. And I think nowadays you have to have a lot of evidence and proof as to how the child was born, where the child was born, who paid for the NHS treatment. So all that comes into play as well. So it's not always possible that the application will be granted, but generally it is. So you have to look at individual cases and differently. I think people think I've got the same situation as the other one has, but it could be slightly different because we're all different and all the cases are individuals. So we have to be mindful as to not to look at the other person, but look at your own application, focus on your own, look at the documentations which you have to give, make sure all the paperwork is accurate so your money is not wasted when you submit an application form. All what you need, what you require as documentation goes is listed on gov.uk website. So it says, if you go on gov.uk website under immigration and nationality, all the rules are there, the regulations are there. It tells you what do you want to apply for, And basically, this is what you need. And I think more or less I have told you, you need your pay slips, your bank statements, your savings, your council, your tax, your P60, all that comes into play to show that you're a credible sponsor for your spouse and your children, if you're bringing your children over or you're applying with them in the country. That is what I know. Is there any questions so far? I'm happy to take questions as well.
Right, okay.
Can I say,
I think we're going to...
Sorry,
yeah.
before I go, before I leave the floor for the questions, there is something I would like to say, that sometimes when you have been given leave for, say, 2.5 years, but make sure you make an application to regularize your stay. Don't forget that your day will be over, let's say 1st of January, and you've forgotten that, oh my God, 2 years have gone past and I'll do it tomorrow and I'll do it tomorrow. Don't leave it, because you can become illegal very, very quickly, not remembering that you have to regularize your stay. And don't become an overstayer. And that will have a bad, obviously, implication for your further leave to remain. So just be mindful that whatever you're doing, remember the dates and apply it in time. Don't leave it till the last day. That's not good. So get your paperwork in order all the time till you're regularized and you're legally based here. That's all.
Thank you so much. I mean, both Mrs. Isibo and Mrs. Dale, for that very useful information from both of you. Now, I believe, the questions will start flowing in now. Let me hand over to the control room. Rashida, maybe if you want to look at the questions, let's take a first set of questions, before we have another brief interlude and then come back again. Questions now.
Yep. The first question here says they want the service contact email for community engagement. So maybe if you could help put that in the chat, that would be appreciated, Laura. And then there's this question: with the new immigration bill proposed, if a parent loses their nationality, will the children also lose theirs?
Sorry, yes. Could you repeat that, please? I didn't get the question. Sorry.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I can now. Yeah.
With the new immigration bill being proposed, if a parent loses their nationality, will the children also lose theirs?
That is a possibility, because I think the family has, obviously we haven't reached that stage yet, obviously, to take away somebody's nationality. It has to be really, really serious. It has to be quite, how do I say? It has to be very serious issue. But again, I don't think that children might lose their nationality either. But the impact will be that if you remove a parent nationality, automatically the children have to be looked after. So they become an issue. So that becomes a family case. And I would imagine that will be dealt altogether. I would imagine, don't take me for granted or whatever, because it is a new bill and we are still working to understand how it's going to impact us operationally, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just going to add as well that at the moment, we're not really making any comments on the bill because he's still going through the stages, the parliamentary stages, and it's one of the two of the final stages right now. So we can't really comment or tell you this is exactly how it's going to be like. Obviously, there's a lot of uproar about it. People are not happy about it. but we can't say yes, the child will lose it or the child. But as Pat is saying, obviously, whatever status your mother or father has, if you're, I mean, as a child, you know, obviously you have the same thing. But then there's also that other side that, you know, your child can get leave at 10 years old anyway, even if the parent don't have it. You see, so at the end of the day, I think it's really fair that we wait until the bill comes out, so we especially know what's happening. And then another thing is, what I know that we've been told at our meetings is that, you know, this bill, that it's really, as Pat said, it has to be extreme circumstances. You know, like for example, someone that is the nationality of the country of like UK, like espionage and acts of terrorism, they has to be also be proved as well beyond a reasonable doubt that they have actually contributed to acts of terrorism and espionage. And also there has to be an unacceptable behavior such as the glorification of terrorism, and it has to be proven as well. And also they have to be part of the war crimes as well. And also they have to have serious and organized crime they've committed. So it's not like they're just going to say, oh, because you just went and, you know, you stole something from the shop, that's it, your British passport was taken away from you. I don't think so. So these four that I've just mentioned those are the top reasons why, you know, they will be taking off someone that is, you know, that is got another nationality and has got British nationality. But it has to be proven as well. Everything is about proof. You can't just do something without, you know, that extra evidence to show in all, you know, from reasonable doubt that the person has actually committed this crime. So it is those four that are the main ones. But regarding what you asked, I can't, or Pat cannot say to you this would happen, because unless, unfortunately, God forbid, the person falls under acts of terrorism and espionage, which obviously is going to affect your whole family as a whole. So we really can't comment on any questions on nationality and borders until it's gone through the parliament.
Actually, to add to what Laura has just said, she's absolutely correct. But I would also say that Immigration Department or Home Office, part of being a Home Office, we are here actually to hold the law and make sure people who are living here are in safe environment and they live without any fear. And I think that is one of the pillar of being immigration, a controlled immigration. We are here to safeguard the law, which is led by the government or the House of Parliament. So we would just follow what they have to say, and immigration is good, but also here to protect this country.
Thank you so much.
More question? Yeah. Somebody said, just to clarify, children born before 1983 are automatic British citizen. Is that what you said, Laura?
Hello?
Laura, did you not hear me?
Yeah, sorry, could you say that again? Sorry, I didn't get it.
The person wants clarification about the statement you made that children born before 1983 are automatic British citizen.
Yeah, it says children, when you read the legislation, it does say that children born in the UK on or after 1st of January 1983, the date to which the British Nationality Act came into force, will be a British citizen automatically if either parent is a British citizen or settled. That is after January 1983. Before January 1983, it was an automatic. Is that correct, Pat?
Yeah, before 1983, children were born. They have either they could be British nationals or they could be right of abode. They are treated as the same.
Right. Yes. But after the 1st of January, if a child was born, then they have to prove that the parent is either a British or was settled in the UK. They can be the same. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that clear?
That's correct.
How can you check that a person living back home? Okay, that's I think that's not question relevant to you. Then Pat, did you say that the sponsoring sponsoring spouse must earn 18,600 per year and have 16,000 savings. And then the second one is earning plus savings of the spouse coming from abroad taken into account.
No, because the sponsor, who is British, is working in the United Kingdom, has worked for 6 months at least, and proved that he has pay slips, he has bank statements, and he has his employer's letter, P60 or P4, not P45, P60, to show that they have paid the taxes as either as self-employed or working for someone. So you have the burden of proof is on the sponsor to show that they can maintain their spouse and look after them with no recourse to public funds. Now, public funds means either accessing housing or universal credit or any kind of benefits. So they can support them without actually relying on public funds, means the government money. So that is what is required currently. You have to be earning £18,600 or more, and have enough savings to support them.
Sorry, another question before we take some hand raise. What about the orphan siblings who is being sponsored by a British citizen and resident? What can be done to bring them over as they are still under 16?
Siblings are a different category, actually. I was obviously, they have much more to prove. I don't think it's that straightforward. I was here to speak about a spouse. I haven't really done a lot of study on that, but it'll be harder. I know it's harder to bring siblings unless you show that they are dependent on you financially and they have nobody else to look after them in their own country and they're reliant on you completely, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the eligibility requirements would be actually listed. They are listed on UK.gov. It's under family, and I think it's pretty hard. England has been very hard to bring siblings. The rules are very strict about that.
Okay. Let's take Onitola, please unmute yourself. We have a lot of questions, but please make it very brief.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you.
Walaikum salam.
Thank you very much for this session. My question is in two parts, and I'll make it quick. So the first is just clarification in terms of the children born before the 1983. In the past, we have, our parents would usually take their children born in the UK before 1983 back home. And they've stayed in Nigeria for over a period of time because they don't understand or don't have the means of coming back. So if those children that were born before 1983, would they be able to then apply to come back into the UK from abroad? And the second one is in regards to a spouse, you were on a spouse visa before, and you've now reached the term of, you've got your indefinite stay and you want to apply for a British citizen. The rules is you need to have lived in the country for 10 years legally. Okay, so when you apply for your British citizen, are you in that case then applying on your own accord or as a married a spouse of a British citizen? So that's two questions.
Shall I deal with the question, Laura?
Yeah, go on, yeah.
I think I'll take the first part, which is the children born before 1983 and they're living abroad. They can come here or apply for British citizenship, but they have to prove that they were here or their parents were here legally at the time of their birth. So they have to prove as to how they were born to the parents who were, whatever they were doing here, or they are still here. So they have to evidence everything as to the circumstances in which they were born, because, like I said, British nationality or right of abode is issued on legality. If your parents were legally present in the United Kingdom, that's when they will consider the application. If you were living abroad, you'll have to go to the British High Commission of your own, in your own country, to prove all that to obtain the nationality or right of abode. I don't think we do that anymore. Right of abode, we do that anymore. We just do straightforward British nationality. We have stopped doing right of abodes. So I think that's the first part. And the second part of the question was the spouse and the British nationality. You were saying that after to apply for British nationality, do you mean you have to have the support of your sponsor? Is that what the question is? Like,
so the question
you still have to be in relationship?
After being in the country legally for 10 years, the rule says that you can apply for a British citizen. So my question is that when you do, when you qualify and you apply for a British citizen, are you doing that on your own accord, or is your application based on the fact that you're married to a British citizen?
Well, you would have got your indefinite leave to remain anyway, whether you're still with that British person or not. So you have to prove that you've been here 10 years legally, and that means you can apply for British nationality. But there is no promise that you will get it, because they look into your eligibility, whatever you provide to British passport for nationality. But I think I don't see any other reason or why it shouldn't be granted if everything is correctly presented to Home Office. I think that's fine.
Can I just add as well that, as you know, when I was talking about the 10 years regularized status for children, I believe, lived for 10 years, and they can be regularized, obviously, looking at the nationality legislation. I would say definitely, if you're not sure, go through the UK for sure to make sure. But as Pat said, you have got your indefinite leave to remain anyway, and relationships do break up. And obviously, as Pat said, they will look at all the make sure that you meet the criteria for living in the UK. Because it's not just about spouse. Some people have unfortunately committed criminality issues, and it's going to affect their leave to get a British passport anyway. So there's so many things that might be involved. But if you have there legally for 10 years, then, as Pat said, we don't see where there should be a problem, unless there is another problem which we are not aware of, or the case will work out. They will definitely find out anyway. But as Pat said, it's something that should be looked into. But I would say go and make sure you do your proper research about it.
Yeah. What factors should parents, guardians consider before applying for dual citizenship on behalf of their children or dependents? And what are the implications of dual nationalities?
Oh, it's a straightforward question, actually, because United Kingdom allows dual nationality. They don't have any bar against it. It depends on your own country of origin. For instance, India doesn't allow dual nationality. So if you're British, they might issue you with an identity card, but they won't give you a passport. But Britain has no objections if you want to retain another nationality. But it depends on the host country.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Does that answer the question?
Do you have further questions, Rashida?
Yes, sir. We have for that. There are quite a number of questions. So I don't know. This question says, how can I convince the Home Office that I love my spouse if I have known them for a few months and got married to them? Maybe we take another question with that so that you answer the two together. I want to ask what to be done in case of someone who came on a tourist visa, but later got married and she was given a 3-year residency, which has lapsed. On application for renewal, she was denied. Please, what's her recourse? And due to the refusal, she's not able to work, though she has filed for an appeal. Is there anything else she could do?
Sorry, it's a very, very long question. I lost the thread here. Can you repeat that for me, please? Sorry.
The person came on a tourist visa, got married, and was given a 3-year residency visa, which has now expired. And then they applied for renewal and was denied. And she's asking if there is any other thing the person can do.
Well, I'm sorry to say, I'm sorry that it was denied, but I don't know the circumstances of the case. And like Laura initially said, that we are not here to discuss individual cases. And we will not be able to comment on why the person was refused. Equally, the refusal letter will give you the reasons as to why they were refused. And I think the person will know the reasons. We don't know why. So I can't comment on that really, because it's a very individual case. And what do you think, Laura?
We can't comment on individual cases. It's very, it's very obvious. It's firstly, I think about data protection as well. So if there's any issue that the person thinks that it's, first of all, I would say about the loving your spouse, there's nothing we can do as I say, convincing the Home Office about that. You just have to meet the criteria and the requirements. You just have to, everything is evidence, because at the end of the day, you love that person, that's fantastic, but it has to be evidence. You have to show beyond reasonable doubt that, it is the genuine relationship, and your spouse, if he is the British, he needs to fight for you. Basically, just fight for you. If he really is the one that is, doing your application, then it doesn't matter what happens. You don't let go, because at the end of the day, you are saying that you're married and you're happy. And it's for you to take it to the, wherever you want to take it to, because I can't really advise you on that, because that is something you need to make a decision on with your spouse and the solicitor, however you want to take it, how further you want to take it. So as Pat said, in regards to other questions, we can't really comment on those areas because it's quite personal questions. So if there's anything that we going forward, because there's lots of questions that we need to answer, I would say that my email will be given to, I can't give everybody our email because we're not going with, I don't have like an email for the team, I have an email for me. So I would send the email to Rashidat, and if there's any complex situation, please do not send us questions on, I put in my application 6 months ago, we had COVID, so we've kind of explained to everyone that it's really impacted on our work. So people that probably applied 7 or 8 months ago are still waiting because obviously people were sick. Obviously people have died in the COVID. So you have to please understand that there is obviously a delay. But if there is something that is a complex situation and the Home Office have not, probably responded to you in any way, shape or form, or you're just not really clear on the situation, then you can let Rashida know, please, and then we can take it from there. I mean, you can. I would send her my email, and you can just write me through her.
Well, thank you so much.
Can I also say, please don't stop loving your spouse. You don't have to prove it to. You don't have to prove it to the Home Office.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Laura and Pat. Now, before we, draw a line on this, in order to use the remaining minutes to address to internal matters. The last question, if I might, go back to it. I'm reading it on the chat. It's related to what Pat mentioned earlier, because the questioner indicated that the reason why they were refused was that the 3 years had elapsed. It has expired before so they knew why they were refused. I think the question is, if you apply after time, you have overstayed, and you applied and your application is refused, what is your recourse? That is what the question was asking.
I will say with the refusal letter, they tell you what next step you should take. Either you have a right of appeal, or you don't have a right of appeal, or they suggest that you go home and try again. Every refusal letter has an explanation at the last page that what your next step should be. If you're unclear with your refusal letter, please do contact your local MP or your immigration lawyer you've hired. Sometimes I would say, I think Laura would agree with me here, I hope she does, that occasionally applications are put up by some immigration advisors or experts, and they make some error or judgment or not put it correctly. So it's not always the Home Office. I think sometimes it's the people themselves. You trust the lawyers hoping that they'll do the right thing, and it isn't the right thing. So you have to make a judgment on your own application, keep a track of your own application. And I would suggest you speak to your lawyer if you're unhappy.
Yeah. Yes. Prof,
Yeah,
somebody
I
has
agree with
begged that I should please ask this question for them. So I will beg your pardon, sir. The person said, how long does it take someone that was removed from the UK to come back as a visitor or spouse? Can he or she apply for job visa, as there are many job opportunities in the UK?
It depends on the circumstances in which the person was removed from here. There is a ban. If you have remained here illegally and you were detained and removed by the Home Office, the ban is 10 years. No, sorry. Yeah, the ban is 10 years. And you have to note 135. No, ban is 5 years if you were detained and removed. And then you also have deportation. I don't know how the person has gone back, were they detained, arrested, served prison, and then removed. So it's 10 years ban because Home Secretary signs a deportation order. And if you went voluntarily back home with your own ticket, on your own passport, and came to the Home Office saying, I have bought my own tickets, thank you, and I'm going home now, the ban is approximately a year or maybe 2. And that's the way it goes. But if we buy your ticket, that means the taxpayer is picking up your bill, the ban gets higher. That's the situation at the moment, and it will remain so.
I was also going to add as well that people get confused, and I don't blame them because they don't know much about, if they don't work in immigration, why would they want to know unless they have something to do with immigration? Is that there is a difference between the removal and deportation. A lot of people say, you were deported. You will only be deported, as Pat said, if you are under criminality. Okay, because then that the Home Secretary has signed, to say you're not conducive to the public good. So most of the time, nobody's going to tell you, oh, I was removed because I was, everybody just uses deported. No, sometimes, as Pat said, most times people are administratively removed, which is when, they probably saw you working somewhere and, they're taking you back home and all of that. And then, as she said, there will be a ban in coming, but you have to prove beyond that you are and you can't come back in, whatever, people for different reasons. So it's up to the entry clearance officer to make that final decision if you can't come back in or not after that time period. But deportation is used for people that has, most of the time has had a deportation order signed by the Home Secretary due to criminality. Thank you. We can hear you.
I hear you, Prof.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we'll take the last question from President Adesina, and then we'll be rounding up. Thank you, President Adesina. Brief, please.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thank you to Pat and Laura. My own question move away from the legal aspect. I want to talk about the commercial aspect of Home Office. Why is it that every now and then, mostly every year or every 2 years, you increase the visa fees? And I've never seen Home Office constructing a very gigantic building. What caused that increase in the visa fee? Because I could remember a dependent, maybe if you are the person applying and you have 4 dependents, in the past, only your fee will carry all the 4 dependents. But beyond that, the visa fees increasing every day, every year. Why? Why the commercial?
Thank you, President Adesina. Let's get a response from either Laura or Pat.
Yeah, I would say something quickly. I've asked this question as well from some other stakeholders and community leaders, because as your concern is also has been their concern. Because as a Nigerian lead, one of the things that we need to do, is that I would take feedback back to say, this is what the leaders are saying, this is what the communities are saying, they're not happy about this, or what can be done about this. So I cannot say to you, this is the reason why, because I haven't been given any kind of policy guide. There probably is. But what I would do is I would take this back, because obviously they know I'm having this meeting today, and find out, that you're concerned and community is concerned of the increase in cost of immigration application every year, and what is the reason, because I think it's fair that you should know.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me now thank Laura and Pat. We really appreciate you. The information you have passed on to us, the advices have really been very, very useful. And we have really had a very, very, resourceful evening today. We hope, sometime in the future, we will still be happy to, come to our community to speak to us. We thank you so much for your time, and we wish you Allah's continued blessings in your work in the Home Office. Thanks a lot.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. God bless you too.
We'll be prompt next time. Thank you very much for having us, but we'll be technically very astute.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you are sure we had over 80 people on the system tonight. So
oh, brilliant. Thank you.
The information has really gone far. Thank you very much. Okay.
Yes, and I would say as well, please do let us know, as well when I speak to the chairperson, please do let us know what topics are of interest to them, to people, and what they're concerned about, so we can take it from here next time.
Okay, we'll let you know.
Thank you.
Okay, cheers, and bye for now.
All right, have a good evening. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. Now, alhamdulillah, I hope, this evening's program has been really beneficial, for every one of us. Now, we have about 5 minutes to go. We will take the financial report. We have not taken the financial, situation for quite a while. So on our appeals. So I'll call on the financial secretary to please, give us an update on the financial situation of our fundraising before we sign off today. Karima.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi.
Thank you so much for that. I'm just going to share my screen. Can you see my screen, sir?
Yes.
Okay, let's just okay. So this is an update as of the 11th of February 2022. So this update include all of the weeks that we've missed as well, and this is an update as of the 11th of February. Hope it's big enough. So far, the donation we've received in pounds come to a total of £342,574.94. From the fundraising we did in January, alhamdulillah, we've been able to collect so far £90,186. In our NERA account, we've got a total a converted rate in pounds of £5,933.33. the £100 donations that we've got, flyers are still going out once every week. We've been able to collect so far £3,730, and for our Qad Asna, we've got an amount of 3,500 lent to the mosque so far. So this all brings us to a total of donation received so far of £445,924.27. So our pledges, we've got two here. The first fundraising event we did last year, we've still got an outstanding balance of 2,700. And for the pledges outstanding for the fundraising we did in January, we've got an outstanding balance of £32,140, which gives us an outstanding pledge or pledges of £34,840. So our reverse shortfall without the pledges come to a total of £354,075. £75.73. And if we were to include the pledges, we've got £319,235.73. So for last week, we received in a week, we've received £42,600.96. And I'd just like to say, it's with great pleasure and, all praise be to Almighty Allah that we started off from 800,000 and to see where we are now. Thank you to every single person that donated, contributed in one way or the other to this godly cause, and may Almighty Allah continue to kind of strengthen us and enrich our pocket. And I also want to say a big thank you to the CAF sisters. So their pledge of 25,000, that's been, the payment has been made. So if you please just give them a prayer to us, that thank you very much. And for any question, I'll stay on the line for that. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for that update. And as you rightly mentioned, I mean, all those who have contributed and have redeemed their pledges, we thank you so much. I mean, for all your contributions, and may Allah put this in your Mizan al-Khair and reward you abundantly here in this world and hereafter. CAF sisters, everyone who donated, I mean, every penny, may Allah reward you abundantly and put it in your Mizan Hasanat. We hope, inshallah ta'ala, that, I mean, the pledges, especially the pledges for January fundraising, we make efforts to ensure that, I mean, we recoup that in, and hopefully we also call on all those who still have their pledges outstanding to ensure that, I mean, they fulfill the pledges so that we can keep moving forward. Now, regarding Qad Hasan, inshallah, I mean, we are putting a project in place whereby, we'll be coming individually to, I mean, everyone within the community to speak to them on a one-to-one, to encourage people to answer to the call of the Qad Hasan. So inshallah ta'ala, we hope, I mean, this also will help, I mean, move the funds forward more. Jazakumullahu khaira jaza. And before we round up, our OU who believe today, I mean, will be from Surah An-Nisa, Quran chapter 4, verse 59. Allah says, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu, OU who believe, ati'u Allah wa ati'u Rasula wa ulil amri minkum. Obey Allah and obey the Prophet, the Messenger, and those in authority. What we did today is about, I mean, obeying the rules. Muslims, I mean, should try as much as possible wherever we are, I mean, to ensure that we operate within the law. We don't operate outside the law. And so may Allah make it easy for every one of us and keep us on the straight path, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan jaza. Once again, our Mama Hafsat, Elias, MBE, congratulations again for your 80 years birthday today. We pray Allah to give you increased iman, good health, and also increased prosperity, inshallah, and every one of us on this project. While saying salam, I'll be handing over back to Abdul Ghani Olawale Hassan to sign us off. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. It's been a very, very wonderful and eventful day today on the program. And we hope, inshallah, you have greatly benefited from our guests, the discussion, and of course, establishing the fact that the topic of discussion today is not just off the cuff. No, it's something well ingrained in the practice of our religion. We pray Allah Azza wa Jalla to increase us in knowledge and keep us within his fold. Allahumma ameen. Keeping within the folds of Allah, make sure you don't run against the law. That is very, very important too, because it takes a well-rested mind to worship Allah with all sincerity. We pray God Almighty to be pleased with us. Of course, the door to paradise is still open, wide open. We are calling people to volunteer, be part of this team to rebuild the mosque, the Old Kent Road Mosque. Your donations are greatly, greatly appreciated. We pray Allah Azza wa Jalla to bless all of us. The temporary mosque is still open. Please make sure that you are part of that activity. Ensure that you bring your kids to the markaz. We pray Allah Azza wa Jalla to bless our doings. Allahumma ameen. And on that note, I want to urge you to kindly share this program, because if it goes a long way, it will surely spread the word and increase your own thawab. That is your reward too. Till we meet, inshallah. I almost said tomorrow. I'm so excited. Till we meet next week, inshallah, I leave you in the safe first hands of Allah by saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
The urgent need to cater for our fast-growing community of mosque users. The belief in Allah's promise to reward every effort towards the building of a mosque with paradise, and our commitment to the next generation of believers informed our decision to start the rebuild by pulling down the 100-year-old building. Now is the time to have a brand new purpose-built 6-story Old Kent Road Mosque and Islamic Cultural Centre, strategically sited here in London. Join us on this journey of faith by donating and encouraging others to do the same. You can pay in any currency. May Allah bless you abundantly. Ameen.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. إنا عرضنا الأمانة على السماوات والأرض والجبال فأبين أن يحملنها وأشفقن منها وحملها الإنسان إنه كان ظلوما